you gotta go, man. You just have to go. Never wait on the right time, because the right time ain't ever coming.
Beast mode, it's a lifestyle that becomes your nature. We all know these people who spend the whole year doing nothing, sitting still. And then all of a sudden, for 3 weeks out of the year, they suddenly spring into action and things start moving, results start coming in. And right when you think you might be looking at a different person, they go right back to where they were 3 weeks before and stay there for another year. These are the New Year resolution beachbody people. These are the people who want to lose the weight. They talk about losing the weight, buy the gear to lose the weight, get a membership, get into position to lose the weight, but quit because training is at 5:30 in the morning.
Everybody wants to be a millionaire. Everybody wants to be the top of the top until it's time to do what Phenomenal does. I'm not scared that some kid's gonna take my spot. If he does, he's gonna have to do it with sweat. He's gonna have to do it with tears. He's gonna have to do it with blood. He is going to have to get up at 2:30 in the morning. If he can get up every day at 2:30, he deserves to take my spot. Some people are taking your spot and they shouldn't take it, but because you're average, it's easy to take your spot. It's easy. It's easy to take that client before you get to him. It's easy. It's easy to beat you. Why? You average. But let me tell you something. Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do.
Right now is a time of year where you can really separate yourself. You can separate yourself from other people, your competition, but you can also separate yourself from where you are, from the standards you've set. You can separate yourself from your current position to a new position in your relationships, your money, your body, your business. If somebody's ahead of you, it's difficult to catch them when they're at full speed. It just is. It's difficult. They're in front of you. They're running full speed. You're chasing them down. It's difficult to catch at those times. But where you do catch people is during what I call separation seasons. And these are the seasons where some people begin to flinch. They get weak. They take time off. They relax. They get casual about their routine. Maybe they're not as sure about their standards as they once were. And when they do that, they flinch. Bam, you blow their doors off because you keep pushing and separate yourself during that time. This isn't just about competing against other people. It's separating yourself from where you currently are, which is what all of you want to do. It's called growing.
You see, beast mode is about the hunt. And if you don't get that, if you don't understand that, then you'll think that you can just turn it on whenever you want. Now, I've got to pass this class. Time to get into beast mode. I've got to get this promotion. Time to get into beast mode. That's not how it works. It's about the hunt. The hunt is what terrifies people. People don't even understand the hunt because it's primal. It's do or die. It's all or nothing. The hunt.
Why is it you can give someone everything? Support, encouragement, education, money, opportunity. And the people you give the most to sometimes spend their life going in and out of rehab their whole life. And then you see people that life is just kicked in the teeth. People have been through any form of abuse, mental, emotional, physical, any. People that had no opportunity, who somehow developed the one factor that will separate you from all those people that talk a good game and make you one of the few who do. It's called hunger. See, if you look at Sir Richard Branson's a good friend of mine, Richard, this guy's as hungry today as when he was 16 years old, starting virgin in a crypt there in England. In his late 60s, he's got the same drive.
The most important conversation is the one you have with yourself. You wake up with it, you walk around with it, you go to bed with it. Eventually, you act on it. Sometimes you act on it good, sometimes bad. You gotta change the internal dialogue. Until you change the internal dialogue in your head, until you callous over the victim's mentality, that the world is out to get you because of you are the only, you gotta change that shit, man. And if you keep that mentality, you're gonna stay in the same exact spot that you're in.
You're not gonna drop 42 pounds in one season. That's gonna take some endurance. You're not going to become your best self all by yourself. That's going to take some collaboration. So stop trying to be a beast for a week and realize that it's about a lifestyle. You live it day in and day out. And when you practice that long enough, it becomes your nature.
In life, we really will never exceed what we believe we're worth. We just never will. And so if you can begin to do things you think other people aren't willing to do, or maybe do things the former you weren't willing to do, you begin to believe that the new you deserves things other people won't get, and the new you deserves to get things the former you didn't get either. And so this is why this season is so critical. And I've stacked up maybe 30 straight separation seasons. There's other ones. There's summertime, right? There's times like that. But right now is the big one. You all know what I'm talking about, right? Everyone gets kind of casual. Everyone slows down. And one day turns into 3 days, turns into 4 days. You know, Christmas is a holiday. It's not a hol-a-month. New Year's Eve is a holiday, not a hol-a-month or a hol-a-week. But people keep taking these hol-a-weeks and hol-a-months this time of year. And it's when you get them. It's when you get the former you. It's when this new version of you emerges. So take advantage of this season. It's the greatest of all seasons. And I can tell you it's one of the reasons why, if I do have some good things going on in my life, is I separated during this time. I separated from the old me, and I separated from my competition.
It takes both emotion and logic for you to reach your maximum potential, to really give everything you have and go beyond your limits. So when it doesn't make sense, logical sense to go on, that's when you got to use your emotion. That's when you got to use that anger, that frustration, that fear to push yourself harder, to push yourself to say, I don't stop. So you fight the weak emotions with the power of logic, and you fight the weakness of logic with the power of emotions. And in the balance of those two, that's where you find the strength and the tenacity and the guts to say to yourself, I don't stop.
It's a dogfight of skills and talents and luck and faith and circumstance and blessing and all that stuff. But just to get to the table, to get into the room, you have to believe you deserve to be there. The hard work part plays into shifting your identity. That over time, not even that long a period of time, when you're doing the things others are unwilling to do, you begin quietly to begin to believe that, oh, I deserve to be rewarded in ways these other people aren't going to be rewarded because I'm doing the things others won't do. And so the fastest way to change your identity, to change our belief, is just to flat get to work, to flat get there earlier, to flat leave later, to just make more calls, see more people, be more relentless, just pour ourselves into the work, because actually the hard work can in reverse impact our identity. And that's the key in changing your belief. So ask yourself this question honestly, in whatever business you're in. Have you done everything physically and mentally possible to get yourself to that table? Have you done everything you're capable of doing? Have you been relentless and ferocious and invested so much time, effort, and energy that inside you know you deserve to win? Or have you held something in reserve? Have you not really given it your best? Have you kind of hoped you'd get a little bit luckier? Well, it's that little bit of reserve you hold back that will ultimately keep you from sitting at the table of success.
How do we start to strengthen our belief in that what we imagine is possible to turn it into reality? And there's 2 or 3 ways. One is to believe your own testimony. If you've done it before, why couldn't you do it again? If you've done it once, couldn't you do it the second time? Why not believe in your own testimonial? I was rich by age 31 and broke by age 33. You know, I lost the money, but I didn't lose the skills. And that's what's important about personal development. You can lose the money, but not the skills, so who cares about the money? Unless it's getting late, right? And you're like 90, and you know, it's a little difficult to go back to the streets, but hey, once you've got the skills, you own the skills. So we start with imagination, which is almost real. I mean, it's not real yet, it's not tangible yet, but it's almost real. Now we move to faith, to believe that what we imagine is possible. So we study our own testimony. If we've done it before, we can do it again. Here's what else we study: other testimonials of somebody who did it. Somebody that built a hotel said, yes, I started with some plans, finally believed it was possible, and here it is. You say, well, if it's possible for one, it's possible for another. In fact, sometimes when we hear the testimonial, here's how they finish. If I can do it, you can do it. See, that's a classic testimonial that gives us now what we call faith. Faith is generated by what we hear, the vocabulary of what we hear, the vocabulary of what we read. That generates faith, to believe that it's possible. Now, faith is not reality. You can't say faith is nothing, because it affects. It's like radiation. To us, it's nothing because it can't be seen. But radiation is so powerful it can kill you. Right? You can't see it, but it has an incredible effect. And that's true of faith. Faith can't be seen, but it has an incredible effect on your attitude, on your behavior, on your disciplines, on your work for the day, and all the rest. So faith is tangible in that sense, that it affects the emotions, it affects the drive. It's called the unseen magic. But now here's what we do with faith and imagination. We deposit it in disciplines and activity. Imagination, without the activity to translate it into reality, serves no purpose. But wisdom and faith, deposited in activity, creates reality. The reality of a career, the reality of a hotel that wasn't there.
See, if you wake up every day and you say you're not a morning person, you're doing a serious disservice to yourself. Because your attitude determines your altitude. A lot of your mornings start off bad because you've taken claim that you're not a morning person. Why would you not be a morning person when the whole goal is to wake up every morning? You gotta be in the life-changing business. People have got to look at you like a light. Something should be in you that shows other people that there's hope. You don't know this about yourself, but you're gonna be that person one day. And you gotta start preparing for what you wanna be. At least let God know you're glad you're alive. If you don't let nobody else, you don't know it, but you're gonna be a light one day. And people gonna look to you for that light.
I believe in winning the battle against yourself, because there's a lot of things you can control. When you wake up, I talk about making your bed. Make your bed, make sure your house is clean, make sure you get your breakfast, make sure you shower, shave, whatever you're doing, control that. Don't hit the snooze button. All these things are very important. That's been told a lot of times. Why don't you hit the snooze button? Because you wake up already failing. You're already behind the power curve. So what happens when you hit the snooze button? You may not make your bed. You may not pick the right clothes out in the morning time. So that's the mindset that I think it's important to bring with you every day you go, everywhere you go in life.
Time is the inexplicable raw material of everything. With it, all is possible. Without it, nothing. The supply of time is truly a daily miracle, an affair genuinely astonishing when one examines it. You wake up in the morning and lo, your purse is magically filled with 24 hours of the unmanufactured tissue of the universe of your life. It is yours. It is the most precious of possessions. No one can take it from you. It is unstealable. And no one receives either more or less than you receive. In the realm of time, there is no aristocracy of wealth and no aristocracy of intellect. Genius is never rewarded by even an extra hour a day. And there is no punishment. Waste your infinitely previous commodity as much as you will, and the supply will never be withheld from you. You cannot waste tomorrow. It is kept for you. You cannot waste the next hour. It is kept for you. I have said the affair was a genuine miracle. Is it not? You have to live on this 24 hours of daily time. Out of it, you have to spend health, pleasure, money, content, respect, and the evolution of your immortal soul. Its right use, its most effective use, is a matter of the highest urgency and of the most thrilling actuality. All depends on that. Your happiness, the elusive prize that you are all clutching for, my friends, depends on that.
How do you have time for anything? How do you have time to dink around on Facebook? How do you have time to watch hours and hours of TV? How do you have time to do anything? It's simply because that's where you put the priority. So don't tell yourself you don't have time. Just say it's not important. And maybe it isn't, and that's okay. But if it is, make the time to get it done.
If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. Complain, point at your circumstances, give up your power, blame the government. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. It's hard to make a radical change in your behavior. It's hard to take ownership. It's hard to swallow the bitter pill that wherever you find yourself, at some point in time, you made an appointment to be there. That's hard.
Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
Not what's happening in your life, not what's going on in your home, not what's happening in your finances. The blessing is on you. The blessing is on you. The blessing is on you. Don't let life change your name. The blessing. Don't lose yourself in your situation. Don't let your situation eat up yourself. Don't get beside yourself. Don't forget who you are. Don't forget who you are. Don't forget who you are. The blessing is on you. The promise is on you. The word is on you. The anointing is on you. The favor is on you. The gift is on you. The victory is on you. Don't let your situation. You owe him a level of commitment. You owe him a level of commitment. It's wrong for you to think that you're going to give an offering and God's going to bless a business you ain't committed to. Bless a marriage you ain't committed to. Bless you in school and you won't study. Bless you as a saint of God and you won't walk like a saint of God. Who do you think God is? Somebody playing in Vegas? God is not hitting a slot machine. God is a guaranteed, definite I am. The mighty God, oh sure, bless it. He told Abraham, I swear I'm going to bless you. Ain't no chance, ain't no doubt, ain't no joke about it. If I told you I was going to bless you, I will open up the windows of heaven. Then wonder why I thought I'd be further than I am at days. Let me tell you why you are not further. It is not the devil. It is not witches. It is not demons. And it's sure God ain't haters. You are not any further than where you are right now because you have never thrown your whole self at anything in your life. You take a half-committed man and a half-committed trifling woman and put them together and they'll have some half-committed trifling kids and the whole house will be half-committed because children will be what they see. Stop fussing at your kids. They're a reflection of you. Your second commitment is to family, and it's a very important commitment. Through the storm and the rain and the heartache and the pain and the disappointment, you have to believe in the we and the us and not the me and the you. Or you're not gonna make it. It's a commitment. It's not a feeling. You gotta come home when you're in love and you gotta come home when you're not in love. Or you're not gonna make it. And stay there till the love comes back. It's a commitment. Y'all don't want to hear real truth. You want to hear fairy tale Hollywood shake and bake stuff, but in reality, it's a commitment. If you don't learn to give like you learn to get, every area that there is not reciprocity, it will die. Reciprocity. What do you give back for what you get? If you're not committed, you're not going to make it. Even the ones with the personalities you don't like. You have to be committed. Through the storm and the rain and the heartache and the pain and the disappointment, you have to believe in the we and the us and not the me and the you. Or you're not going to make it. It's a commitment. It's not a feeling. Until you have had the taste of finishing, you will not respect yourself. Until you follow through, until something is done, come hell or high water, tears and struggles and pain, and you go through it anyway, and you show up and you continue to fight on no matter the circumstances,
After a while, something begins to wither inside of you. Anytime you need something that you can't give to yourself, you're at the mercy of somebody else, and when they don't come through, you got pain. And what you become is the consequences of what you didn't get. It's an urge. It's an urge. Truth be told, every champion has felt it. Every president has felt it. Every king has felt it. Every lion has felt it. Every winner has felt it. Every soldier has felt it. Every victorious person has felt it. The urge. I don't care if you don't have the money, you don't have the help, and you don't have the family for it, and you don't have the background for it, and you don't have the friends for it. Don't you give up on your dream. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. It may take you twice as long. You may have to take courses and classes. You might not read as fast. You might not move as quick. You might not have as much. But don't you quit. Don't you quit. You do make a difference. You do make a difference. As weak as you are, as tired as you are, as many mistakes as you made, you do make a difference. There is something they would lose if you were not there. There was something that they would miss if you were not there. You do make a difference. I will not face a giant without you. I will not make a major decision without prayer. I will not bring somebody into my life just because they please me. I'll submit myself, my destiny, my future over to you. You are my foundation. You are my rock. You are my fortress. You are my strength. You are my defense. Without you, I can do nothing. You are the substratum of every dream I have ever dreamed in my life, and I will take no promotion you don't want me to have, and I will accept no friend you don't want me to have. You're my rock. The danger of low expectations. I would rather aim for the stars and not hit them than to not aim at all. I would rather go after it and not get it than not go after it at all. I'd rather try and fail than not try at all. I don't want to live with the idea, wonder what would have happened had I done more with my life. I'm going to go for it, come hell or high water. I'm going after my destiny. You got to run after your destiny. You can't stroll after your destiny. You can't walk after your destiny. You got to run. You got to run. You got to run. You got to run. You can't just wake up in the morning, let me see what's going to happen today. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to wear. I don't know what I'm going to cook. I don't know where I'm going to go. I just woke up. Oh, you should stay in the bed. Give the day to somebody who's going to run after their destiny. Give the day to somebody who has a plan, who has a strategy, because success is never an accident. And if you don't want it, get out of my way. Because there are some people who want to do something with their life, who will run. I didn't get it till I got to this age, but I'm going to start running. I messed up junior high, but now I'm going to start running. I messed up high school, but now I'm going to start running. The moment you get the word, you ought to run.
I'm honored and I'm blown away, even though this is my 25th year plus doing this. I've been doing this for a quarter of a century now, which is quite amazing for me in the process. Thank you. And I've had the privilege, most of us are trying to be something we're not. And it isn't so much about change, about changing yourself. The change happens when you be yourself. You want to know what's really you? Where you're going to be alive is when it's really you. And you may even think you know who you are because you've been living a certain way, but I'll tell you how you'll know. You'll feel limited. You'll feel free. Whatever your game plan is, it's ultimately to get to a certain feeling.
I like to ask that question before I speak because I like to know who's in the audience and what your expectations are for your life. And when I ask that question, a lot of people raise their hands. Some people don't. Some people don't want anything much. Most people operate in the area of survival. How many of you know people who should be here? Raise your hands, please. See, they're fine just like they are. Now, but there's some people who that Just surviving is not enough. I believe that there are three types of people in life. There are winners, there are losers, and there are winners who've not discovered how to win yet. And these individuals, it's something about them that drives them, that they will invest in themselves. They go to seminars and workshops and lectures, and they're seeking, there's something in them that says, I can do better than this. That there are people who would be glad to be where they are and would be happy, but they're not. How many of you know if you had your life to live over again, you can do more than what you've done thus far? Raise your hands. I was reading a story about George Bernard Shaw, who was a very brilliant man in his day, and I love to quote him. But one of the things that was asked George Bernard Shaw that really resonated with me at the end of his life, somebody asked him, if you had to be anybody in the world, anybody throughout history, if you had the power to be born again, who would you like to come back as? And without blinking, he said, I'd like to be born as the man I never was. I like to be the man I never was, that I never became. Seeking to connect with that person. There's another person here that you're looking at. There's somebody else back there. And every chair in this place, there are two people in this place in every chair. You're in the chair with somebody else. There's another person back there. You know they're back there. And that person is the person that you want to become connected with. And sometimes you do. Sometimes you've had some experiences where you said, I can't believe I'm doing this. How many have ever done that, please? That you surprise yourself. Well, every time I speak, I see this as such a sacred opportunity. And I'm so happy. Sometimes I think I'm dreaming, because when I look back on my life, and this Les Brown that you see was in bondage for so many years, didn't come out till late in my life. I had him under arrest. I was in bondage with fear. I wanted to do what I'm doing. And I thought about things I wanted to accomplish, and I held myself back because I was afraid to fail. I was afraid to make mistakes. I was afraid that I would embarrass myself. I was intimidated by people who had college degrees because I didn't have a college degree. I still don't have a college degree. And so I would think about the things I wanted to do, and then I would start thinking about the fact, Les, you can't do that. So that's what I told this guy in me. Les, you can't do that. You don't have a college education. Les, I hear what you're saying, but come on, be logical. Be practical. You can't do that. I know you feel good going to see Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins and the late Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Robert Schuller. I know they motivate you and inspire you, but get real. You can't do that. You never worked for any major corporation. Come on. Let's be practical. Be logical. Oh, yes, I know people told you have a gift to gab, and you have a nice personality, and you're funny, and you make people feel good, and you make them laugh. But you become a speaker, speak for corporations, train and teach people, and motivate people to do something you've never done. You're not rich. You're not successful. You don't have any books. You don't have the resources. You don't know the people. You don't have the contacts. You can't do that, Les Brown. See, my heart said, I can do that. And I looked at my dream and saw someone doing what I love to do. I love to help people. How many love to help people? And my heart said, I can do that. And then I made a critical mistake. I asked, how? The mind became operative. The mind came up front and said, Les Brown, I heard what your heart said, but I want to ask you, how will you do that? And so I went from my heart to my mind, and I tried to figure it out. How would I do that? At that time, I wanted to earn $1,000 an hour. My mind said, do you make $1,000 a week? I said, no. Okay. Have you ever done this before? I said, no. Okay. Well, I'm not saying you can't do it, but let me ask you some other questions, all right? Have you any contacts with anybody that can teach you how to do this? No. Okay, well, maybe there's something else. Do you have the money? No. Do you have the credentials? No. Will anybody stand up for you and say, oh, he's done it for me and I know he's good? No. Well, let me ask you, do you really think you could do this? No. There's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do you no harm. How many of you ever thought about something you wanted to do? You felt it in your heart. You couldn't explain it. You felt it in your heart. And you talked yourself out of it. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. I talked myself out of it. No one did it to me but me. The forte of fruiters is not in our stars, but in ourselves, that we are underlings. My first major goal was I wanted to buy my mother a home. And I achieved that. I'm adopted. I feel like Abraham Lincoln, who said, all that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. Saw a sign once that said, God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. My mama was a good woman. She adopted 7 children. Mama only had a 3rd grade education, but I admired her character. I admired her personality. She never met strangers. Mama met you right now. She would talk your head off. You know, she was a funny woman. She always had a sense of humor. Mama walked fast. We walked with Mama downtown. We had to hold her dress. Mama would walk fast. We trying to keep up with Mama. Years later, at the end of her life, when she was 89 and suffering from breast cancer, we took her to a furniture warehouse, and she got out of the car with my sister, and she was holding my arm, and I said, Mama, I said, they have a wheelchair here. Can I get this wheelchair for you? And I went and got the wheelchair. And she looked at me. She said, no, boy, I would walk this place myself. I said, Mama, but it's so huge, Mama. How roll you in a wheelchair? She said, I'm fine. And I saw her straighten herself, and she walked it herself. I admired her strength. I said, oh, Mama, you know, this morning I got up, and every time something happens to me and I want to get down and I want to surrender to any of the challenges I encounter, and I got up this morning and the sciatic nerve and this L5 and L4 of my lower disc protruding, and I was in pain, and my body said, you can't do this speech today. And somebody said, are you going to surrender to this pain, or are you Mamie's boy? Get up and straighten your back. You can do that speech. You can walk that flow yourself. When you start walking, you won't feel anything but her presence with you. Sometimes we have to stand up inside ourselves. Sometimes we have to fight ourselves. Sometimes you have a dream and goal that you want to achieve, and you say, oh, I can't do that. You got to tell yourself to shut up. I can do it. Don't tell me I can't do that. Sometimes you got to talk to yourself. I can do it. I'm Mamie's boy. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I will do it. I have got to do this. What you think about your dream? And I want you to increase your dream dramatically. I said you have something special. I'm telling you what I know. You have greatness in you.
My search led me to the study of the spiritual forces with which all of us are blessed. And it was in this field that I came upon a clue which has enabled me to help millions of people to find their earthly destinies. I want to describe my discovery in the simplest terms possible, because it will reveal to you why it is true that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve, regardless of how many times you may have failed in the past or how lofty your aims and hopes may be. I caught my first fleeting glimpse of the profound law which provides the means by which we may choose our own purpose in life and attain it, while I was being coached by Andrew Carnegie during the organization of the Science of Success philosophy. I had just finished telling Mr. Carnegie that I feared he had chosen the wrong person to give the world the first practical philosophy of personal success because of my youth, my lack of education, and my lack of finances. Well, at this point, Mr. Carnegie delivered a lecture that I shall never forget because it changed my entire life and paved the way for my helping to change the lives of millions of people, some of them not yet born. Let me call your attention to a great power which is under your control, said Mr. Carnegie, a power which is greater than poverty, greater than the lack of education, greater than all of your fears and superstitions combined. It is the power to take possession of your own mind and direct it to whatever ends you may desire. This profound power, Mr. Carnegie continued, is the gift of the Creator, and it must have been considered the greatest of all of his gifts to man, because it is the only thing over which man has the complete and unchallengeable right of control and direction. When you speak of your poverty and lack of education, Mr. Carnegie explained, you are simply directing your mind power to attract these undesirable circumstances, because it is true that whatever your mind feeds upon, your mind attracts to you. Now you see why it is important that you recognize that all success begins with definiteness of purpose, with a clear picture in your mind of precisely what you want from life. Then Mr. Carnegie continued his speech with a description of a great universal truth which made such an impact upon my mind that I began then and there to give myself a new outlook on life and set up for myself a goal so far above my previous achievements that it shocked my friends and relatives when they heard about it. Everyone, said Mr. Carnegie, comes to the earth plane blessed with the privilege of controlling his mind power and directing it to whatever ends he may choose. But, he continued, everyone brings over with him at birth the equivalent of 2 sealed envelopes, one of which is clearly labeled, the riches you may enjoy if you take possession of your own mind and direct it to ends of your own choice. And the other is labeled, the penalties you must pay if you neglect to take possession of your mind and direct it. And now let me reveal to you, said Mr. Carnegie, the contents of those 2 sealed envelopes. In the one labeled riches is this list of blessings. 1, sound health. 2, peace of mind. 3, a labor of love of your own choice. 4, freedom from fear and worry. 5, a positive mental attitude. 6, material riches of your own choice and quantity. In the sealed envelope labeled penalties, Mr. Carnegie continued, is this list of the prices one must pay for neglecting to take possession of his own mind. 1, ill health. 2, fear and worry. 3, indecision and doubt. 4, frustration and discouragement throughout life. 5, poverty and want. 6, and a whole flock of evils consisting of envy, greed, jealousy, anger, hatred, and superstition. Now, my mission in life is to help you and everyone who needs my help to open up and use the contents of the sealed envelope labeled riches. And the starting point from which you must take off if you wish to write your own ticket from here on out for the remainder of your life, I will describe for you in these simple instructions. 1, procure a neat pocket-sized notebook, or something on the order of this one here, loose leaf affair. And on page 1, write down a clear description of your major desire in life, the one circumstance or position or thing which you will be willing to accept as your idea of success. And remember before you begin writing that your only limitations are those which you set up in your own mind or permit others to set up for you. And 2, on page 2 of your notebook, Write down a clear statement of precisely what you intend to give in return for that which you desire from life. And then start in right where you stand now to begin giving. And 3, memorize both of your statements, what you desire and what you intend to give in return for it. And repeat them at least 12 times daily. And always end your statements with this expression of gratitude for the blessings with which you were gifted at birth. I ask not, O divine providence, for more riches, but more wisdom with which to accept and use wisely the riches I received at birth in the form of the power to control and direct my mind to whatever ends I desire. If you are not too successful or self-satisfied to accept and express this profound prayer, if you accept it and express it in the same spirit of humble sincerity in which I pass it on to you, a new and a better world will reveal itself to you. A world in which you will see reflected the circumstances and the things which you yourself have created. And now let me close this, our first visit, with my favorite expression of gratitude. O divine providence, I ask not for more riches, but more wisdom with which to make wiser use of the riches you gave me at birth, consisting in the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever ends I desire.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
You got to get uncomfortable with yourself. You can't be comfortable and get to a level that you want to go and expect to get what you want if you stay at one level. It just doesn't work like that. Most people are comfortable with themselves. They like what they are. They like who they are. You don't necessarily have to like where you are. You should love yourself, no doubt. And you should appreciate where you may be right now. But there's a certain point in time where you just got to go a little bit further. You are breathing, you are alive, and you got work to do. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you need to understand something about work. Work ain't supposed to be easy. Work is work. Life is life. How you go about doing things that's going to make you better depends on you. Now, you're sitting around waiting for someone to save you. Get over yourself. No one can save you. Save yourself from excuses. Save yourself from giving yourself less credit of your greatness. Do you realize that when you were born for greatness? And even if you have a problem, even if there's some things that are happening in your life right now, greatness belongs to you. But to be great, you got to do great things. To be great, you got to be passionate. You got to be driven. You got to be hungry. And you got to conduct your business. Ladies and gentlemen, get it done. Focus on your purpose and keep it moving.
Don't just listen. Don't just listen. Do. I'm not just talking. So you know, I'm not just talking. I'm doing. And I don't want you to just listen. Put this information to work. Make today count. Every day. Go forward. Get aggressive and attack, whether it's on the battlefield or on the beat or in the factory or on the farm or on the construction site or on the website, in the garage or in the firehouse. Don't hesitate. Step forward and get after it.
Behind every moment of adversity, every single moment of adversity in your life, two things are going to happen. there's going to be a lesson, and there's going to be a blessing. You got to wait on both of them. If you let the adversity crumble you, if you focus on the adversity, you will lay there and wallow in the fact that you have failed. Because failure coming. But life is 10% what happened to you. It's 90% what you do about it. Man, so what you fail. It's not really failure though. Every time you fail, it's a valuable, taught, learned experience that makes you greater for later on.
The only way that you can fail is to give up. Edison said that he invented the light bulb, but it was a 2,000-step journey. He actually said that he tried 2,000 different things before he found the thing that worked. Wow. So many people that have been great, phenomenal successes. If you knew the number of times that they failed. Walt Disney was fired from a job because they said he had no creativity. Imagine that. What if he would have just said, okay, well, I guess what I thought was going to happen was just my imagination. They told me I have no creativity. When are you going to stop listening to what they tell you and start listening to God and what's in your own heart? People told me I couldn't do this. They said, you can't do that. You're a woman. And so when I went to God and said, I can't do that, I'm a woman, he said, I know you're a woman. You can do whatever God tells you to do. Even if you're the first person to ever do it, you can still do it. But everything is not going to go perfectly right from step one. You will have things that you step out in and try to do that won't work.
Nothing necessarily changed, but it evolves. Everything evolves. Why are you waiting to get to that level? Why are you waiting to take it to the next level? Why are you comfortable just staying where you are? Think about it for a moment. You want something out of life, but you're not willing to work for it. You want to get to a certain level in life, but you ain't willing to go get it and go out there and go do what you got to do to get to where you want to be. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not something that is going to happen overnight. You got to put your work in so you can get something out of it. And if you're not willing to get that, you're never going to get anything anyway. It doesn't necessarily have to be fitness related. It's everything that we do in life. Our goal is to go up, not down. We want to continue to excel. You don't want to get yourself in a position where you're regressing, but you want to go into a position where you're progressing. So get outside of yourself. Get uncomfortable with yourself and find out more about who you really are and what you're made of, and then you'll go to the level you need to be and then go beyond that level. I don't believe in goals. Just like I tell people often, I don't necessarily put myself in a position where I have a specific goal. Yes, there is a target that you want to hit. But what's next? What's the next level? How far are you going to go past that? Once you've accomplished something, you don't just stay there. You get outside of that and go to the next level and then go to the next one. You keep pushing yourself until they put you in the ground. Until they put you in that ground and put those rose petals on your box, you got to keep on moving. You got to keep on moving with a purpose. So keep it moving, ladies and gentlemen. I love you from the bottom of my heart. Keep it moving, be productive, be powerful, and from the bottom of my heart, conduct your business.
There has to be a stubbornness. I'm committed to this marriage. Leaving is not an option. I'm committed to my children. No matter what they do or don't do, I'm going to be there for them. I'm committed to being my best at this job. You don't let people talk you out of it. You don't slack off because it's not fair. You're lonely. You're not making progress. You have a made-up mind. When you stay committed, God will make things happen that you couldn't make happen. Suddenly, things will turn around. Suddenly, your marriage will improve. Suddenly, your business will take off. Many of you have passed this test. You've been committed. You've been doing the right thing. Be encouraged. You are close to your double portion. You are close to a breakthrough, close to meeting the right person, close to your new level.
It's also, ladies and gentlemen, necessary that you be creative when you're working on your ideas, that you understand the importance of changing up, of readjusting your strategies. Many times we can have a great idea, but if you're not advancing it in the right way and things don't happen, you become discouraged and think the idea doesn't work. No, that's not true. It's necessary that we become creative. It's me. I've got to make it happen. It's not over until I win. The next thing that's important to know, yes, it's possible that you can choose your future and direct the course of your life as you run toward your dream. It's necessary that you have goals, that you write those goals down, that you plan, that you think constantly of how you can begin to improve what it is that you're doing. If it's your presentations, if it's your recruiting skills, whatever that is, it's also necessary that you look for ways to always find a way to pull it out when everybody else thinks that you are defeated. That you've got to take personal responsibility to know that in order to become successful, you've got to make it your personal business to do it. But the next thing, ladies and gentlemen, I want to share with you that some of you already know that it's hard. It's not easy. It's hard changing your life. It was hard when just over 3 years ago in the Penobscot building in Detroit, Michigan, where I was operating my business, and I fell on some hard times, and I was sleeping in my office. It was hard coming into the lobby, and the security said, "Excuse me, Mr. Brown, can we see you for a moment?" And I said, "Yes," and I walked up to the counter, and he gave me an envelope. And he said, "Would you mind reading it here?" And I opened the envelope, and the envelope was from management that said, "This is an office tower. It's not a hotel. Please do not sleep in your office." And I said, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "I just work long hours in creating my business. I'm an entrepreneur. And right now things are bad for me, but they're not going to be this way always. And I just asked for the opportunity to continue to operate like I'm doing. I'm not trying to make this my home." And it was hard coming through the lobby. And sometimes they would laugh. There's a guy talking about becoming successful. And look at him. He's bathing in the bathroom upstairs on the 21st floor. He sleeps on the floor. Him and 2 other dreamers up there. Look at him. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen, coming to speak to people. And I was facing financial difficulties in my own life. I was behind on my bills and my dreams, and I'm saying to them, you can live your dream. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen. It was very difficult to pick myself up each day believing that I can do it. There were times that I doubted myself. I said, "God, why is this happening to me? I'm just trying to take care of my children and my mother. I'm not trying to steal or rob from anybody. Why did this have to happen to me?" It was very hard. And here's what I want to say to you. For those of you that have experienced some hardships, don't give up on your dream. No one could have convinced me by holding on, by continuing to push forward, by continuing to run toward my dream, that one day I would have my own talk show. It's a long shot, ladies and gentlemen, from Liberty City, an abandoned building on a floor, never knowing my mother or father. It's a long shot. Being here with you today in this dome in Atlanta, it's a long shot. No college training, labeled educable, mentally retarded, but I kept running toward my dream. Don't stop. Don't stop running toward your dream.